Hello, everyone, and thanks for coming, and thanks to Robert for organizing the first Vue.js Vienna meetup, and thanks for the invitation. My name is Tim Zallmann. I'm working for GitLab at the moment. I'm there a front-end lead, so I'm leading one of the two front-end teams that we currently have. And what I want to talk today is about how we use our own product, which is GitLab, in the combination with Vue, Nuxt, and our CI to keep all our icons in shape for our whole software application. So, what is GitLab? Perhaps some of you know already, some perhaps have already used it. As you can see, we want to build a product that is covering the whole development cycle, that is covering also the whole DevOps cycle. So what we have is, we started as a code repository management, but on top of that, we have issues, we have version control as we had it from the beginning, we have continuous integration, we have release automation, so you can do canary deployments, for example, you can administrate your whole cluster with it, and you can have in the end full monitoring. So everything that you have just changed is going to be deployed and is completely monitored inside GitLab. So our idea is really to have this full cycle that you can start with an idea and bring it to production and really see how it grows. We are in the market, our main focus was over the last years of self-hosting. We are having 2/3 of the organizations that do self-Git hosting. That is basically our market share. We have more than 100,000 installations. We are open source. That's the other big thing. So you can take a look at our software. You can contribute. We have, I think, 1,600 contributors that already contributed to our software. We are very happy about that. You can either run your own instance, so the community edition that is completely open source, completely free, or our enterprise edition, which is targeted at teams which are more than 50 people, 100 people, so they have much more tools to actually manage teams and software of that size. Or you can use GitLab.com, which is running the enterprise edition, and I will come to this later, but you can use it also for private repositories for free, and you have also CI minutes. But enough with the talk about our product. Now I want to show you a little bit what we are actually doing. As this was a quite short notice, I'm not giving the huge talk about how we use Vue, because what happened is that last November, the front-end lead, we have two front-end teams, Jacob Schatz, he wrote also a quite famous article about it, why we choose Vue and how we work with Vue and what our goal is to do with Vue. This is why we switched to bring our code base to a Vue standard. What does this mean? We are targeting not for one full, huge single-page application. We are targeting with Vue inside GitLab that we are building small applications and small components with it. So, for example, a good example is the issue board. So where you have your issues and you move them around, this is one Vue application. Then you have another Vue component, which is the GitLab CI tree and pipeline manager that you see here. So we are building smaller components in Vue and are trying to bring in components that we reuse in all of these applications. As we have a huge code base, as we are quite big software product, this takes some time, so we are still in the process of that, and we are moving that over. I joined in mid of April GitLab, and one of my main targets at the beginning was performance optimization. So I took a look how good is GitLab.com currently doing with performance, and I saw some areas that we could improve. One of the big things that stood out was, except lazy image loading and some other topics, was our use of icons. So in the Rails world, it was quite common to use SVG icons simply in the way of inlining them. So there are helper functionalities that simply you write in your YAML template, okay, please inline this SVG icon, and it does that. What happens is you are reducing your HTTP request. It's really nice. It's nice if you have two SVG icons or two SVG files, but if you have a screen that looks like this, where you can see that we have a green check mark in a circle, then you're basically replicating the same icon over and over and over and over and over again in our HTML blob. So this is something we wanted to change because it was hitting our performance, as we also didn't have any caching on these static assets. So what was the plan? Our plan was to bring this to a process so that we have a complete UX team, which is doing design and also coding. So they are also working on components. We have one person specific for doing just illustrations and icons. And so far, the whole process in our development was like she prepared something in Sketch, then someone else came, exported it, then this file was taken to an online application to improve and optimize the SVG. Then this was handed over in an issue. And in this issue, the developer basically took that icon and pasted it in our directory and into the code. What happened, of course, as soon as you saw this in the HTML, it was too big, too small, not centered, etc. So this was a very cumbersome process. So we took a direct look at to improve our process, also in that whole refactoring of our icons. So we wanted to do Svg Sprites, as you know. They are very nice because it's like one SVG file. It includes all the different icons. So we have now, I think, 67 icons that are completely packed in one file, which is like 50 kilobytes. It's completely cached. It's going out over our CDN. So it's much faster, and simply all the SVGs are linked inside HTML. So if we have the screen that we had from before, we simply inline it once. So we are simply linking it once, but we don't bloat our HTML size and are able to reduce this in a very nice way. So one of the nicest things working at GitLab is that we can use our product all the time. So we are dog fooding our product, which simply helps because as soon as someone finds a problem, you simply say fix it, or you want your own problems fixed. So what we're trying to do is that everything that we do in our daily development circle, we try to cover this with GitLab, and if we can't cover it, then we build something new or we propose a new feature. So the idea was we wanted to have merge requests so that designers are able to add icons through merge requests. We wanted to include our CI and CD for better workflow. And we wanted to have the whole thing as pages so that we have a static result so that if you're not adding anything but just want to look up an icon, then you can go there and take a look at these icons and use them. So this is when we created our GitLab SVGs solution. And what happened is that we have here our SVGs and our Vue application. Ta-da! So this is an application that is automatically created out of, so a designer comes, takes an SVG file, simply drops it in the directory, and creates a merge request. As soon as this merge request is merged, our CI kicks in, takes a look at the SVG, it optimizes it, it crunches it, and it packs it up in the Svg Sprites. And then our whole Vue application that is here is then created with the power of Nuxt, and I hope I spell it correctly. I'm not sure what the actual name is, how you tell it. And then basically we deploy this to our GitLab pages, and we have at any time an actual static icon checker. So what we can do in here is that we can search for any icon. We can click on an icon. As soon as we click on it, it's copied, and then we can use it in our actual code, the name of the icon. The other big thing is that any illustration that is put in is also in here, and you can take a look and preview it so that our designers can take a look actually in the browser, how does the whole thing look. So, and this is completely created automatically, and we will take a look how this is done. So, as I said, we also the big step was optimizing the added SVGs, because you can actually optimize SVGs a lot by cutting away attributes that you don't need, cutting away colors that you don't need, etc. So there is a quite good library for that, which is called SVG-O, that also is available as an online application. I will actually post later on that the whole slides, they will be public, and there are all links in there. So this is really nice for optimizing SVGs. Then we are using a library which is called Svg Sprites, which is doing the actual packaging and creating that file. We create, as I said, the preview application. We generate the static page. And we have everything running through our GitLab CI. How do we get it back into our main application? At the end of the CI process, we create a dist folder, and in there we have an npm. In the package.json, we have an npm definition. So in our main application, we simply do yarn update or npm update to our GitLab SVGs, and this is how we have the whole process of updating icons. As I said, SVGs, there is also an online application where you can try out the whole application and see how it optimizes it. The nice thing is really that it has like 60 options where you can say, please cut this away, etc. So that's also what I already explained. So nuxtjs.org. What is Nuxt.js? It's a framework for creating universal Vue.js applications. So in reality, it's something like a boilerplate combining different technologies. So it's combining Vue with Vuex and Webpack and Babel. So it's like a boilerplate that's already set up that delivers you some really nice tools like already data setup, middleware. It has layouts in there, it has pages, automatic routing, and it does that also with a very nice option to render Vue on a server. But that's all nice, but I never used it because the main thing is you can also do static generation, and that's what we are using in the CI. So you can create out of this Vue application, you simply create a file out of it. So let's take a look at our source code. The whole thing is you can take a deeper look at the Nuxt configuration, how the whole thing is set up. This thing is flickering. We lost the internet, or not? The classic talk situation. It doesn't work. So let's see. Thank you, production. So let's see. There we go. So that's the actual code for creating. Also, the whole repository, as we do everything, is also open source. It's linked. You can later on take a look at it. You can see all the code. You can take the code. You can even use our icons. So it's really simply takes all icons from the folder. It sends them through the libraries that do their magic. This is in the separated and separate files. And in the end, it also creates JSON files. So it creates JSON files about the icons and about the illustration so that our Vue application actually knows about it. Let's take a look at our previewer. So this is what I said before. That's already the whole setup that is happening in Nuxt. So if you create a boilerplate application, you already have like a store prepared. You have the pages, the layouts, components folder set up. They have even nice boilerplate CI commands to create these files. So no, I will kill someone at production. What's happening? So I'm not saying anything more. So yeah, this is our whole Vue application. So as hopefully a lot of you already know, this is a Vue file. This is really crowded file. It's not a perfect production application, but it's doing what it needs to do. So what we have here is all our setup. We are using also the same component that we use later on in our code. So the icon component, so the resizing is the same and the rendering is the same, etc. So what we have here is simply our code is what? Wait, don't scroll. Here we go. So we are simply loading this icon, the whole icons.json, and then are looping through them and rendering them based on the search strings, and also that we are calculating kilobyte sizes for the different icons so that we can see if something blows up totally. And yeah, this is the index view, and we can take also a look at our components. So it's split up in the components that we have. That's the icon that's rendering. This looks like a deployment going wrong. Yeah, so let's go back to my slides. The big thing that I just wanted to show you on top of it, because Vue code is something you should already know. Let's take another try if it's back. No, I don't know what happened to my repository. So, I'm not sure if everyone can see here, but what we are using is our GitLab CI.yaml file. What it does, it configures your whole CI process. So whatever you type in here is creating then later on the whole pipeline that is executed every time you do a commit. You have huge options there. So what you can do is you can do CIs that are going over different projects. You can group stuff. You can run anything. What we provide you is we have a tool that is called a runner, and you can install it on any machine, on any server. We are also providing that on gitlab.com, and then you can run your CI against it and let that stuff execute. So what is happening in here is, I'm not sure if everyone can read it. It takes basically a Docker, the node latest Docker image. It does the npm install on the libraries that we are using inside. It caches the node module so that every time it spins up, it doesn't take so long. And then it does exactly the same npm commands that you run normally locally. It creates all the SVGs, and then it runs this generate command, which is doing the Nuxt static site creation. And everything that is created is then put out in the public path, and everyone can then take a look on the GitLab pages about the result. So, as I said at the beginning, you can try it for yourself on gitlab.com. Please not now, because we have a little bit of a problem. We have a free plan for everyone. We have unlimited private projects and collaborators. On top of that, you get every month 2,000 CI pipeline minutes on a shared runner. That means so you can simply try it out. You can create, we have huge templates. We have also what is linked in here. We have a full Nuxt example of that, how you set this up and how you can create these static files. And you get that basically for free. And as I said, we have the full continuous integration and continuous deployment. So you can also do full deployment. So you can have in the CI linting, then building, and if all of that is green, then you can also add manual actions to actually deploy this also somewhere else. And that is, yeah, is really nice to work with. Here are all the links. We are also hiring a lot of positions, backend, law, legal, recruiters, and also front-end engineers. So take a look at our jobs page. As I said, I will post the slides also in the group, and then you have all the links. But yeah, we are looking at the moment for front-end engineers and also senior front-end engineers. And yeah, questions. That's it.